Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Arcada. I'm not wearing pants, and welcome to the Mailbag Showdown, the show where I answer all questions relating to otaku and anime culture, as well as some random off-topic stuff that just happens to pop up. If you'd like to send in a question, you can email me at mailbagshowdown@glassreflection.net. That is mailbagshowdown@glassreflection.net, and hopefully I'll get to your question eventually, if not fairly soon. Today I have two wonderful questions and a anime recommendation, because a lot of people ask for such things and I like to give them, thus to spread various different anime that otherwise you would not have seen, only because you simply do not know about it. So, first up, do you think you will ever review Dawn of the Seeker, the Dragon Age anime that recently came out? Probably not. I'm not gonna lie there, because honestly, I don't care. Like, I don't mean to be too like, harsh on the show, because well, I kind of do mean to be harsh on the show, because I don't see the point in it, really. I've played Dragon Age. I loved Dragon Age Origins. I played Dragon Age 2 and finished the game wishing I didn't, and Dawn of the Seeker just doesn't interest me, based on what I've heard, trailers, and just the concept of the show itself. I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it, just so I can tell other people to not go out of their way and buy it. That just doesn't make sense to me. Plus, I don't really even know if you could technically call it anime. I guess it all depends on your definition, because it is directed and composed and produced, technically, by people in Japan, by Japanese people, but it was created from a Canadian story, technically, because it's BioWare. Well, I believe it's well, that's part of BioWare that I don't actually know. BioWare Canada is the BioWare I know of, and the guys that made Mass Effect and Knights of the Old Republic, and I don't actually know if Dragon Age is done by that particular facet of BioWare, because EA has been going and slapping the BioWare name on pretty much everything. Hell, BioWare is making the next Command & Conquer, and that just makes no sense to me. BioWare is RPGs to me. Is Command & Conquer? Seriously? Okay. Dawn of the Seeker was just created as a collaboration between BioWare and Funimation. That's what it's always been advertised, and that's basically what it is. BioWare provides the story, and Funimation provides the connections to get the thing animated, produced, and distributed. That, I don't think it would work out. If I can get one person to actually recommend to me why I should watch this show, I might do it, but just because I'm not interested in the Dragon Age 2 storyline. I'm just not. And the fact that I honestly don't have any hope or prayer that it's any decent at all, no, I'm probably not going to get it and review it. Because also my personal reviewing rules state that in order to review a show, it either has to be unlicensed, which this obviously isn't because Funimation's running the whole thing, or I have to own it. Those are my rules, and I stick to them pretty closely. Next question. I've owned the perfect collection of Evangelion for a while, and I can't bring myself to watch it, perhaps out of fear that a good chunk of it will be boring as sin. Stripped of its influence and hype, is the show even worth watching? I get that question for a lot of shows, actually, but Evangelion is probably one of the more popular ones because it's one of those shows that just gets so hyped up that a lot of people who probably would have enjoyed it otherwise just are not interested. It's just like, oh, well, so many people say it's good, it's been spoiled to me now. I just have no interest in watching it. I know people that were like that with Death Note. I know people that were like that with Hetalia. I know people like that with Evangelion. And it's the fan base that kills it for a lot of people. And is it still worth watching? Well, frankly, yes. Evangelion is on a list of what I consider to be 5 anime that you need to watch before you die. They're not necessarily my favorite anime, and they're not necessarily going to be good anime, but they've made their rounds. If they've been around long enough, they're the kind of anime that they're standards. So the 5 shows, just to keep you in the loop, is Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Neon Genesis Evangelion, The Original Fullmetal Alchemist, and Akira. Those 5. I'm not gonna say that you will like every one of them, but they're kind of standards, especially if you're an otaku in North America. Like, if you're in Japan, some of those you probably wouldn't give half a shit about. Well, actually, all of them but Trigun you probably wouldn't. You probably would give a shit about if you were in Japan. Japan and Trigun apparently didn't go too well, and Trigun only really took off here in the West, which is Kind of a shame because it was a great show. I haven't seen Badlands Rumble yet. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Yes, I would recommend you watch Evangelion, because the thing is, if you strip down its influence and hype, like you said, then basically all it is a giant robot show. A very good giant robot show. Like, if you really are looking for a mech show, like, or just like an action-adventure, hell, forget mechs, just go action-adventure. Evangelion is a very safe bet. The only thing I would recommend, though, like, if you're gonna watch Evangelion, is since you already own the Perfect Collection, go out and buy, there's a 2-disc set that you can buy, because I don't actually think you can buy what I'm gonna tell you to buy on its own. And the 2-disc set contains 2 Evangelion movies, Death and Rebirth, and The End of Evangelion. Death and Rebirth is absolutely useless, because it's a recap of the show, and there's nothing new in it. It's the entire show crunched down into like an hour and a half. It's really dumb. It's not worth watching at all. The End of Evangelion, however, is a complete remake of the final 3 episodes. And by complete remake, I mean they just completely scrapped that those final 3 episodes existed, and then just continued on from there and finished the series. Finished. But that's what I would tell you to go and do. Or you could wait a year and a half, and then you could probably watch all the Rebuild movies when they're actually finished, because they started like 5 years ago. The Rebuild of Evangelion was them remaking Evangelion. It's kind of like the Brotherhood of Evangelion or the Dragon Ball Kai of Evangelion. And they started like 5 years ago, and they only have 2 out of the proposed 4 or 5 movies out. There's one that's coming out at the end of the year, end of this year sometime, and then they're finishing it up next year. So if you want to wait, you can do that. And then that goes in a totally different direction, because hell, by the second movie they introduced a whole new character that wasn't in the original show. But like, I would still recommend watching the original show. The original is always something worth watching. I would say that with Full Metal, and I am saying that with Evangelion. So watch that. You can skip the last 3 episodes and just watch the end of Evangelion, and then come back to me and tell me if you liked it. I'm curious. So, next we have a recommendation question. Basically what this is someone who's just like, I'm looking for an anime like this. Help me out. I'm not always guaranteed that I can help you, but I'm probably not a half-bad vast of knowledge in order to tell you. Plus, any show that I recommend to you is worth watching. So that's something. So, here we go. Hello, I'm looking for a new romantic anime, and if possible, I prefer happy endings, and basically I'm looking for a few things. The characters must not look like 10-year-old kids, and I'd like things to go further than just holding hands and blushing, or waiting for the whole series to finish just to see a kiss. The series that I enjoy most with that criteria, Kamiga no Zumo Ain and Paradise Kiss. If you know or have watched something like that, I'm looking for it to be recommended to me. Thanks in advance. My problem with giving out this particular recommendation is, what do you define as 10-year-old kids? If you're talking about moe, then you just pretty much copped out a lot of really good stuff, my friend, in romantics. Like, I know moe isn't everybody's taste, but like, if you can just look past the animation style, you have some really good things ahead of you. Because if you ignore moe, you're missing quite a bit. You're missing things like Clanad, Canon, and Air. Maybe not Air, but Canon and Clanad, definitely worth watching. I wouldn't consider a show like Toradora to be considered moe, but then again, I don't know what you consider to be 10-year-old kids, because Taiga's kind of short for her age. And that might constitute against your criteria. But again, Toradora, perfect example. And then 2 other recommendations that I can give to you is EF, Tale of Memories, and The Girl Who Left Through Time. The Girl Who Left Through Time, if you say that that's moe or the characters look like 10-year-old kids, there is something wrong with you. Not that it's like overly mature style of animation, but it's like not cutesy or moe at all. I actually really like the animation in Girl Who Left Through Time. Maybe you could say that Tale of Memories is more 10-year-old kiddish, but I wouldn't say so personally. But then again, this is just me. So there you go. There's Clanad, Canon, Toradora, EF Tale of Memories, and The Girl Who Left Through Time. 5 shows. Hope I helped you out. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little couple of minutes of mine that I've wasted of your life. You will never get it back, you know. Just saying. And again, if you'd like to send in a question or ask for a recommendation, you can email me at mailbagshowdown@glassreflection.net. And until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.